All right, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about 4 reasons to pre-plan. Being in the funeral service industry, and I will call it an industry, it's a business, it's like anything else that provides services. One of the things we talk about a lot is pre-planning for funerals. It used to be that people would say, well, you need to pre-plan. Why? Because it's peace of mind, because you can guarantee prices, and things like that. That was the reason. That was the thing to get people to say, I should look at doing that. But that was then. This is now. There are really bigger, more important reasons to think about pre-planning. It doesn't even necessarily mean it costs you anything. It's just a mindset. It's something you have to think about doing, and there are reasons. One of the things is it provides a meaningful guide for your family to go by. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, what I'm saying there is that if your family doesn't know what you want, then you've done a great disservice to them because they're guessing. A lot of times, they really don't know. And you get 2, 3, 4 different people trying to say, Mom or Dad wanted this or that, and nobody really knew what they wanted. So it's important to take the time to get something written down, to get some communication made to your family so they really know what you want when the time comes. So that's probably one of the main things about pre-planning. Information for your family to avoid conflicts and tough times and arguments. Next would be to designate specific assets or funds as a guide for your family to use to pay final expenses. Why is that important? Because your family does need to know, is your pre-planned funeral paid for? If not, how is your funeral going to be paid for? Or if you're not having a funeral, what other types of memorials are involved and how are they going to be paid for? A lot of people think, well, I have insurance or my estate will take care of it. Both of those comments don't really answer the question. And it's why you need to understand how the assets that you feel are going to be used for your final expenses, how they're going to be obtained by your family, and how they're going, how quickly that's going to happen and how they're going to be used. So a lot of people think it's very easy. It's not. So you need to talk about that with your family, and they need to understand where the monies are going to come from and what you expect them to be spent on. Number 3, to avoid potential complications with Medicaid eligibility. You hear the word Medicaid a lot these days, and a lot of the reason that people will do pre-planning and pay for a funeral expense or a memorial expense ahead of time as part of what they call a spend down for Medicaid eligibility. Now, I could talk about this at length. I could put my lawyer hat on and talk about that. But suffice it to say, it is something that becomes a very important part of applying for Medicaid eligibility. It's one way you can spend a person's own money to take care of their final expenses and not be penalized for that in the Medicaid eligibility process. And finally, just as part of your overall estate plan, I like to say it's part of good housekeeping with respect to your estate. All these things really make up issues within a potential estate when someone passes away. And you need to have these guidelines, these bits of information and proper things in place so that people know what to do, so that there are no questions. And again, if you don't do that, you're not really being fair to those folks that are going to survive you when you pass. So 4 reasons to pre-plan. 1, 2, 3, 4, there they are, and just something to think about.